hours after President Muhammadu Buhari described the attack on the Kaduna-bound train as callous and a matter of grave concern, and also directed the Nigerian Railway Corporation management to speedily repair the damaged lines and resume normal service without delay. The orgy of attacks in Kaduna State have continued, with terrorists again attacking a train station along the Abuja-Kaduna rail track, burning vehicles as staff ran for cover. It was gathered that security forces later arrived at the scene and repelled the attacks. This comes less than 24 hours after gunmen attacked a passenger train headed to the northwestern Kaduna State from the capital, Abuja, where terrorists planted improvised explosive devices on the tracks, forcing the train heading to Abuja from Kaduna to a stop. Brigadier General Sani Usman, retired former spokesperson of the Nigerian Army, and Freeborn Okhiria, Managing Director, Chief Executive Officer of the Nigerian Railway Corporation, are joining us now to look at these issues. Welcome, gentlemen, but I understand Ole General Usman is with us at the moment, and Mr. Okhiria will join us later. Thank you very much for joining us, General Sani Usman. Good morning.
Good morning, and thank you for having me on your program.
Well, General, what do you think is going on? Some people are trying to provide a linkage in all of this. Sometime last week, there was an attack on the rail line going to Kaduna. Within 48 hours, there was another attack. Before then, there was an attack on the perimeter area, fence area of the Kaduna International Airport. Some people are coming up with a conspiracy theory that it is possible to draw a linkage, in this regard. And if that is true, what could that linkage be? Simply that government is unable to address security, or second, that some people are trying to sabotage the country ahead of the 2023 elections and may probably be testing the waters.
Well, I think it is not surprising if you have so many of such conspiracy theories. But the truth is that every Nigerian is rightly concerned about the security challenges bedeviling the country, especially as it manifested on the invasion of the airport in Kaduna, and barely 2 days ago, attack on the railway, the train services, and yesterday kind of train station. So everybody has, is concerned about what is going on, and to the large extent people are confused. But the long and short of it is that these are issues that have been with us. It's just that we tend to not take them seriously, because if you look at it, there were issues of advisory notes in respect of security challenges that people ought to have acted on. And beyond that, again, you have to look at it holistically with the security challenges across the nation that have corresponding impact on some other parts of the country. I made inference to the campaign against terrorism and insurgency in the Northeast, so much as the security and the military are doing a marvelous job, but these guys tend to shift base. Remember, for way back 2012 to 2014, Boko Haram terrorists made concerted effort to have a foothold in the northwestern part of the country, particularly Kaduna. I could remember we had a terrible time, dislodging them. In fact, it may interest you to know in some part of Gaza, they were constructing houses and they were concealing rocket-propelled grenades in some of those buildings in preparation of times like this. So when you are talking, you have to look at all these things holistically. But coming back to the incidences that happened, now, whenever you are faced with security challenges of this nature, I think the issue is a holistic approach. To what extent the components of Nigerian society are being involved in the security of this country. Let's even look at the railway. We know that Nigeria is technologically deficient because the protection of critical infrastructure such as railway require physical barrier, surveillance, a use of technology like sensors and what have you. We lack in some of those things. To what extent have we complemented it? Let's look at the ticketing system. Let's also look at, if you are boarding a flight, for instance, from Lagos to Abuja or any part of the country, I'm not even talking about international flight. There are concerns about security. People are frisked. People are checked, they go through so many scannings and what have you. The train services, what is it that we have? And again, given the precarious security situation, is it advisable to have a train service from 6 o'clock to 8 o'clock when it is dark? When we have even some parts of Kaduna here, in fact, not just Kaduna, in some parts of Abuja, it is difficult for you to go to some of the automatic teller machines. Some people will just use, improvised weapons to, attack you. So these are things that we have to look at. So it's not surprising that people, again, given the fact that, one of the political parties had a convention, possibly the criminal elements had information that some of these VIPs are moving, so they might take advantage of it to attack. And if you look at it also, they went for the VIP coach as against the normal coaches. So these are things that we don't discard. So, but what is needed now, first, we should intensify effort to make sure that the perpetrators of this crime are apprehended and those that they hold in captivity are rescued. Then there should be proper investigation to know who did what and who has not done what to ensure that these kind of things are mitigated. But beyond that, again, there should be a continuous synergy of efforts among the components of the society. I made reference to the fact that look at the communities along the rail lines. To what extent are they associated with the Nigerian Railway Corporation? Because it is limited. The technology has limitations as compared to human intelligence because they are there, they know the environment. So if there are strange movements, they will be able to report, and there should be also a kind of chain of reportage in case if there is anything that untoward they notice. Then, of course, again, what are those security arrangements? Take, for instance, what happened in Akilibu yesterday. It's a train station, but what are the physical security arrangements in that? Talk less of the train. So a lot of things need to be done. And of course, Nigerians have every right to be concerned about some of these issues, and unless we treat them. But of course, some of these security challenges are deeply rooted in the fabric of the Nigerian society. They do not happen overnight. It has to do with, the level of unemployment, the deprivations. And of course, we know we have 3 tiers of government. One of them is not working, the local government system. We have only the federal and state. Most of the local governments, they only exist in issuing indigenship papers for people who are getting recruited into the armed forces or the police. So we have to go back and, address some of these issues, and we eliminate some of these conspiracy theories so that people will be held accountable also.
All that context, General. There's a message been forwarded widely all over the place that I'd actually like to read to you in case there's anything you'd like to disabuse or contextualize. So it says, Kaduna, when a military fortress becomes the playground of bandits. List of military and police formations in Kaduna State. 1 Division Nigerian Army Barracks, Nigerian Army Depot, Zaria, Armed Forces Command and Staff College, Jaji.
I'm not even preempting you. I know all those things and I've seen it.
So the end of you've seen that forward. Okay, is there anything you want to disabuse there?
Yeah.
In the forward.
Yeah, I would like to disabuse people's mind. First and foremost, I saw it and I belong to so many fora. And I try to make people understand the presence of military does not transcend to some of this mitigation of security challenges. And you have to look at that in the context in which they operate. Some of them, they are not, fighting forces, so to speak. So you should look at that. But beyond that, anyway, I draw from Abuja to Kaduna yesterday, and I had a wonderful time along with my colleague who is also a medical doctor, driving. So people tend to, and that is the problem of the social media. A lot of video clips were being banded. For instance, I think corpses of some soldiers. I had cause to check a very, very senior Nigerian, when he sent it to me, talking about the number of corpses, and I was privileged to go to 44 Nigerian Army Reference Hospital yesterday. Of course, I commiserated with some of the victims, and I was at the mortuary. I know the number of dead bodies that were there. So I had to make him understand that, look, given the insignia of one of these soldiers, they cannot be part of the victims of this train station. Of course, I served in Guards Brigade for 3 years, so I know. And of course, I know that the insignia belongs to Guards Brigade. The commander and of course the Cyber Warfare Command confirm that actually this is the incident at Lambert had not. So a lot of misinformation is there on the social media, and we need to be responsible, to other citizens to verify information before sharing it. And there are other credible sources of information that one can confirm, with. So basically that is it. People tend to, equate the presence of military training institutions. For goodness sake, if you look at Depot Nigerian Army, for instance, they are training recruits. What are the number? Possibly they only have maybe administrative battalion, and the way you portray yourself, that is how people. There are certain things that are security issues that are supposed to be part of national, security concern. You don't banding it. Because the criminal elements in the society, so much as you think you are doing well, yes, a well-enlightened society is easier to govern, it's easier to be carried along, but at the same time, the criminal elements take and do advantage of it, use the open source of information to take advantage, and I'm so sure by the time investigation is conducted in respect of the unfortunate incidents of day before yesterday along, Kaduna, Abuja railway line, you will understand that there could be some of these criminal elements that obtain information through some of this, because you are only as strong as your weak points, and they take advantage of those weak points and information available on the place.
Thank you so much, General. 2 questions, and we understand that Mr. Freeborn Okhiria is here. He's just joining us, too, Managing Director of NRC. And my second question will be for both of you. The first question is, do you think government has failed? That's number 1. Number 2, what was the response time? Because we're getting many stories as regards the response time. An eyewitness said, and I'm directing the question to the General and to the MD. An eyewitness said the attack started at 7:45 p.m. and that it was after the bandits finished their operation at about 10:30, thereabouts. That's when the military came in. Are there any confirmations as regards that? Can you throw more light on that? And they said they walked another 40 minutes until they got to a place where they took them in buses and they took them to hospital, and they got to the hospital around 3:30 a.m. Can you confirm or deny some of these facts and set it straight for us?
Are you talking to the managing director, or you are talking to me? Because I'm not seeing you actually.
The managing director will answer that first.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Hello, good morning, Nigerian. This is not the time to start talking about the rightness or the wrongness of the issue. It's for us to now face it squarely. It's before us, and it's what we are trying to tackle since it happened. Nobody planned for good things. We are planned to run trains and operate them well, and not to secure and make sure they are protected. And when the incident happened, it's not that you plan for it, that, okay, today it's going to happen, then we'll do this, we'll do that. It's when it happens, you start calling up the necessary department to come in. And it happened at the place where signaling, what we call it, communication was not easily available. We have to search and know what happened. And immediately we know we trigger the system we have in place about Kaduna-Abuja security, the Air Force, the soldiers. I think they responded in a good time. The train left Abuja 6:10, and the time it got there was about 7:45. We didn't know of this even 30 or 40 minutes later that it didn't happen, because there was no, once it happened, I think when the train did not get to this next station at the right time, that's when we started asking questions, and we have to send a search party, and we confirmed there was an incident. That's what happened. And I think I should, first of all, say I sympathize and condole those who lost their loved ones, and at the same time praise we had 18 armed men on the train, and the military response, at least to the best of my knowledge, was the best they could do at that time.
So the response time was obviously after 10 p.m. because if the attack started at 7:45, the response time was obviously after 10 p.m. General, I'd like to take your input on this too, being a serviceman. And I say this, and I ask this question because the response time in the airport attack was 3 minutes. So the response time here, some people, an eyewitness said it was over 10 p.m. before the response came in. How can we ensure that responses come quicker? General?
Well, first and foremost, I think we have to look at things in the context under which they operate. Now, the incident happened about 45 kilometers away from Kaduna. And so you look at what are the existing security facilities that could respond to a disaster of certain magnitude. You know, the nearest place is Kaduna. And honestly, given the fact that, remember, Kaduna, not even Kaduna, Abuja-Kaduna highway is being reconstructed. So a lot of construction work is going on. In fact, there were instances, motorists, just barely 30 kilometers away from Kaduna, they were, you know, hamstrung for over 5 hours. So when you are talking about response time using road-bound, you know, means of transportation, you have to take that into cognizance. And I think we should commend the security forces, particularly the military, because I was in touch. Personally, I was in touch because I was reading this of the time the incident happened, people responded, and I had the privilege of talking to the general officer commanding one division. When he was moving, he told me, and when he was able to rescue, to be on the train, he told me. As of yesterday morning, in fact, as of 5 o'clock yesterday, 5 p.m., 6 p.m., that senior officer has not even blinked an eye. That is a major general. That is somebody commanding the division. So what more of other troops that are under him and other, you know, security agencies. So the response times was quite marvelous. It is so unfortunate that the incident has happened, and our sincere condolence to the families of those that have lost their lives. And like I said, personally, I was at the 44 Nigerian Army Reference Hospital, and I saw some of the victims, and we interacted, and thankfully they were responding to treatment, and those that lost their lives, you know, they have been you know, given the necessary procedure. So the truth is that is it. And when you go back to that, your first question about government fail, and I think you are just being unfair when you use a blanket language to say people have failed. What is government? And you know that in Nigeria we have three tiers of government, and we have 3 arms of government. So which one of them? So you have to put things in proper perspective. Yes, we have security challenges, but when we have security challenges, you should also look at the context under which such things operated. You know, I made mention of the technological development of the Nigerian society. First, railway, which is a critical national infrastructure. The world over, what are the security arrangements? I talked about physical security, which involve, the deployment of security personnel and physical barriers using technology, surveillance, monitoring through sensors and what have you. We are yet to reach there. So, but at this context, you have to look at to what extent have we taken advantage of God-given human resources.
General.
So these are the issues that you take into consideration.
General, so
yes, please.
Whose failure is it that we're here to reach there? That we built a rail line and we didn't put something
honestly, I mentioned again the issue of blame game. This is a national catastrophe that has befallen the Nigerian society. And remember, a lot of precious individuals are there with their captives. I think the most important thing we should emphasize on the rescue effort and putting in place mechanism that these things should not happen. And I talked about a thorough investigation of what really happened. But I think the most important thing is that we should give all the support that we could give to the security forces to ensure that these guys that have been abducted are rescued, and the perpetrators of this crime will not go scot-free. Of course, there are so many other things that need to be done, and I think we need to prioritize them. So we should not trivialize such a national disaster of this magnitude about blame game, and it will not help for the time being. But of course, people have to be held accountable. But for the time being, let's intensify on the rescue, on the pursue and rescue effort. Let these Nigerians that are with these criminal elements or terrorists are brought back home, then we will do the needful.
General Usman, with due respect, I feel like clapping for you because I can conveniently say that once a spokesperson, always a spokesperson. You sound very much like you're still
you were there before. In fact, you were a spokesperson to the President Commander-in-Chief. So,
anyway, then my question is for the MD NRC, Mr. Okhiria, if you can hear me. You talked about the rescue effort, response time, and all of that. But the reference, even in the analysis given by the general, is to external intervention. I would like to know, do you have embedded security on those coaches, on those trains, so that, if you are faced with a security situation, there will be a security already embedded, on those trains to be able to at least respond? No, it's Mr. Okhiria that I want to ask the question. Hello? MDNRC, are you with me?
Coaches have a system.
Okay, we'll take a short break.
CCTV.
Yeah, we'll take a short break.
And that can only talk about the coaches, what happened on the coaches.
Is that Mr. Okhiria?
What happened on the track.
Okay, please hold on, Mr. Okhiria.
Procurement.
Mr. Okhiria, please hold on. I'm not done yet. Okay, I raised a question about whether you have embedded security. Now, you yourself raised a question about the fact that communication was a problem. You couldn't get signals from, the train. Now, the Minister of Transportation, Minister Amechi, has also been quoted in the papers today as saying that, look, you don't have sensors, you don't have the relevant technology to monitor the rail lines. About 3 billion will be required to buy drones. He says government is having difficulties with procurement. So is it that these trains are just out there, Abuja to Kaduna, Lagos to Ibadan and elsewhere, without any form of surveillance? And now the president says the NRC should make sure that all the damaged lines are speedily repaired and that, normal service is resumed. Does the NRC have the capacity to resume normal service speedily, as the president is asking?
To ensure that the rail coaches are recovered and the track put back to use. We will work on that. And for if you talk about security, security cannot be bedded just in the NRC. You have to talk with the security, and you don't fly drone without getting relevant approvals. And there are security content you have to put in your system that have to get approval, because it's security. Apart from securing Nigeria, there are other things you need to appropriate security, and there are licenses you need to acquire. As for, it's just like securing your house. You have your security man, you have your camera, you have the one you watch on phone. So also we have. But once it is filled upon, that is another thing else. But we want to have it 24/7, that once one fail, another one can take over, and then another one can take over, so that you really know that the system you put in place is secure, that because all cannot fail at times. If the drone system fail, the sensors on the track fail, then you have the satellite to depend on, and that's why we are working on. So the present one we have limitations, and we have to improve on them. So, and technology is a daily thing. It grows every day. As you do develop, you have hackers, you have people. You have to increase on your security all the time. So that is the issue. The security of yesterday is not the security of today. So it has to be a daily renewal, and it costs money, and you have to have that money to do it. So, as I said earlier, let us concentrate now on how to see how we can recover those that we are kidnapped, and like what we are doing is trying to make calls on the phone they gave on when they were buying the ticket. We have set up a team calling number by number, and we know how many have responded, who said they are safe. We know those who have not responded, and we have those who said they use their number to buy the ticket for their sibling, and some said they are safe, some said they have not heard from them. So that's what is taking us most of the time, and how to secure even the life of those that are going to recover from the coaches that have been derailed. We have about 12 coaches and 1 locomotive that we are derailed, and fix the track, while the other angle of improving on the security. I think now we don't say we should go to lane like this, so that we can take it up and build on it and move ahead. The people should not lose hope. We should. I don't want to say it happened elsewhere, but it's happening daily in other, not just Nigeria, that we are facing this type of issues on.
That can be no justification.
And we cannot isolate
and
the
it's not much of a
rail
comfort
system from the entire nation's problem. So I think we should. It happened in rail. Yesterday it was on road. It could be.
No, are you justifying what happened? MD.
I don't want to say where I am now. You are not here before something happened there. So it's not that you didn't provide enough security, but as you do or even on the internet, as you create software, people are there. There are bad people which we need to all join hand and fight. Thank you.
Is that some kind of justification for what happened? Mr. Okhiria, are you by any measure trying to justify what happened? It happens elsewhere. It happens elsewhere.
Has happened, has happened. What is there to be justified? There's nothing to be justified. It has happened. So we have to look ahead and make sure that it doesn't happen again. There's nothing not to be justified. It has happened. So we take a step further to ensure that it doesn't happen. We prevent it.
Right, Mr. Okhiria. So in trying to look ahead, President Buhari has talked about implementing that integrated surveillance and monitoring security apparatus on the Abuja and Kaduna line and Lagos and Ibadan line. And he's also talked about how the damage should be repaired and services restored. Now, it's going to take a lot for Nigerians to be able to use those services. What would you like to say to Nigerians listening to that presidential statement or reading it and wondering if they will be safe, even with any sensor, any drone that you deploy? We've all established that they're not infallible. What do you have to say to ensure that people continue to use the rail lines, if at all you can ensure that?
We rode on the train yesterday. We had 3 ministers on board, and we went to the site and came back. So you don't say somebody ate pounded yam yesterday and he died because of the poison the pounded yam. You know he pounded yam. So you don't say because a train flew and he crash landed, we will not use the plane. So rail is still the safest mode of travel, no matter the situation. So it's for us now to improve on what we are doing. I said we had 18 armed men on that train, and we have communication. Even just after that, we have to install Turaya on the train set, so that if the GSM fail and the radio fail, we can resort to Turaya. And that's what we use. So we continue to improve on it. So, and the only way is to continue to improve on ourselves and have, we should try and eliminate the bad people without messing word. So, but if you pat them on the back and say, they have done this and nothing happened, even when something happened and we downplay, it's going to empower them and encourage them to go what they are doing. That's what I don't want to be part of. So the issue is that we restore back, and I know we've not given up, and Nigerians don't give up easily. They will still come back, because somebody who wants to travel has to travel. You don't say because of this or that, but we will do our best and ensure we let them know what we are doing to make train use and train rideability secured and safe for use.
All right, quick
but
question.
We have one incident. It doesn't rule out that there will not be another incident, even when you deploy the best of it.
Okay.
But what we should do within ourselves and be our brother's keeper.
Okay.
And when you suspect anything that is about to happen, you report it.
Yes.
Before now, we have.
Okay. We must come together. Thank you so much, sir. If you can hear me, thank you so much, sir. Quick last question for General. General, you said you applied the Abuja-Kaduna highway yesterday. So is it safe for people to go back on now, briefly?
Absolutely. I saw a lot of vehicles along the way, and I had a marvelous time, chatting with my colleague who is a serving military officer, while driving through, except for the normal traffic built up along some of the spots. And of course, I told you some of there is ongoing repair work going on. Instead of 2 lanes, sometimes you have a merger of a lane. So basically, invariably, it is safe, and we'll continue to fly it. But just like I mentioned, we need to critically examine some of these issues, particularly, the human angle, not in terms of soft cell, but to what extent are we integrating, the communities along the roads, and what roles are they playing, and how do we empower them and improve on the system as time goes on.
Okay, thank you very much, General Usman, and thank you also, Mr. Okhiria. Well, I'm sure you know very well that this goes beyond the pounded yam theory, because there will be people who will not go back on those, trains. They won't see it as pounded yam, because we're talking about terrorism and also the loss of human lives.
Dr. Abati, you have to assure Nigerians, honestly, these are some of isolated incidents, and that is exactly what the criminal elements want us to, to be cowed down. Everybody will just go back to their cocoon. No, we have to withstand them. And that's, we expect the railway to, as quickly as possible, repair the tracks and improve on the security system so that people will continue to commute. And of course, expedite the repair of the road between Kaduna, Abuja, Kaduna, Kano, so that people will be commuting.
Well, people will still make their choices, whatever happens hereafter. Thank you very much, gentlemen.